and a really good presentation, very clear, and you did try and have some animations there, but
yeah, I didn't know
they're
that.
lost in the ether there somewhere.
Yeah.
Interesting opening when you're talking about Malaysia and the culture of Malaysia and how much you believe in it.
Yeah.
And the buildings, I would say, are very modernist buildings, based in modernism. Would you agree with that? Or?
Yeah.
And how those two might relate. And I'm thinking in terms of performance, which is the operation of this building, and the spaces in a Malaysian sense that create performance, and whether or not modernism, or whether or not those courtyard spaces, if you go back a couple, get past the plans there or there, well, go forward, there for instance. Is that a space for performance?
Yeah.
The
The building itself, it's planned that like every corner of the space gives you the opportunities for activities, events, and performances.
So how does it do that?
For instance, like if you see the park here, you have sort of the residential above creates sort of like a little overhang, and all this space, all these corners creates a unique kind of feature, like your green wall and stuff, and people can use it for small performances, such as because there are varieties of performing styles, and people might just use a small corner of the space and do a single stand performances or move and so like that. And and all the courtyard space, all the connection space are open up for a variety of opportunities. And that's how I think about it.
The ground floor plan and that image there. The ground floor plan suggests if you go back to just leave it there. The green bits, are they green walls?
The green walls.
So in your plan you have is it a row of trees next to water? In your ground floor plan? Are they trees, those circles? Oh, that's a road. So where's the water? So where's the water?
The water is here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the view from here back to the building.
Okay. I remember when I was in Malaysia, which is only a few times, it being very hot and steamy. Is it here?
So
everyone uses air conditioning, I take it.
Indoors, yes, but there are also some outdoor spaces, and these outdoor spaces, because of I want to create sort of like a park-like kind of building, like outdoors, and of course people won't go out. Like I think it's a phenomenon there because it's too hot. People won't go out in mid-afternoon, but in the evening there are people too that will enjoy a walk in the park, especially with the park-like landscaping here with trees. There is still quite good for people.
So is there a case for the linkages? I was looking at your interiors and I was thinking, why aren't they big palm gardens with air being moved around so it can feel cool? Why is it all inside and excluded from the exterior? Because I can understand the theatre and associated preparation areas might be air conditioned and totally enclosed. But I was thinking, why isn't the rest sheltered but open, so that all of those doors opened up and was full of vegetation and flowers and breeze, and why isn't that the ambition? Why is it all, that's what I was
enclosed?
And why is it all grey and brown and hard surfaces and things when I look at your perspective
First
interiors?
of all,
like all of those, why isn't that all outside?
First of all, it's because the foyer, of course, it's open spaces, but when you go out to the waiting lounge area, I want it to be enclosed because it's more controlled.
Yeah, but why can't it be controlled as part of the outdoors? Because we can do so much now with opening up spaces. I'm thinking of Brisbane, you see. If you've come, have you ever been to our library there, the State Library? That even has the back of the theatre opening up to a big veranda that is so popular, it's booked out for weddings and all sorts of things. So it's hard to get to now. It's the Donovan Hill. Yeah. So, I mean, you have even more tropical areas in Malaysia. So it seemed to me there must be a way of being able to have sheltered and cooled areas and still have them out of doors. I don't know, I don't understand why it's so shut up. That's all. You might have a better grasp of it than I do.
Maybe the image I show you, it's okay.
Because ventilation is very important in Malaysia, isn't it? Like moving air.
Yeah.
Well, it should be.
But if you're in the mid-afternoon, sometimes the air flows in, it's hot.
But you can
you have a body of water there.
You can open it up, can't you?
The only connection that I provided is it's also enclosed, but it's glass, so there's only a visual connection with the outside, and that's what I have provided in this program.
Okay.
So it's developed like that whole sliver next between the road and the building was like an outside garden.
Yeah.
And the building that I've opened onto it, and it's become much more.
Yeah, this part here.
I think that's what I was looking at originally, and I thought it was where the road is with water as well.
Yeah.
So I was thinking there's a double-sided.
I think in an earlier incarnation that was like a transitional outside garden space between the building and.
Yeah.
So did you see a Lisa scheme earlier on, the performing arts one, the one on the street theatre?
It's just a brief look on it. Yeah.
Well, it was quite interesting because what she did was she said, well, performing arts is a public thing, not a private thing, and you know, people can walk past and look at it, or people can inhabit that space in different ways. And it was very generous, actually, a very generous way of seeing it. And I think we've got to be careful in the way we review things, not the way we view things, but the way we review things, so that you know, is the future of theatrical performance, whatever, is it going to be a box experience, or is it going to be a landscape experience, or is it going to be the combination of the two? Rich will be able to talk more about it, but I think traditional theatre performance like No and stuff like that in Japan is very much indoor-outdoor stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not quite the hot tropical climate that
this is really
But
KL is. And
a lot of the early buildings in KL, like for instance in Malacca and places like that, you know, the courtyard houses.
oh, yes.
You know, the long
the long houses.
No, their movements, what's the problem?
Yeah, so I mean, I think your planning skills are competent, you know, there's a nice order to your planning. I think we've always talked in this scheme about opening up to that lake and quarry. That's always been part of the thinking of this building. And then having a back to that very strong expressway, that, you know, that quite sort of powerful urban piece of concrete that sits right behind this building, and it's also a noise source too, I guess, isn't it? So there's I mean, I think it's hedged towards that in terms of your building and the way you're doing your building, but my concern about all our buildings these days is that they're moving further and further towards a sort of an isolated box, which is going to be very expensive to run and not that healthy. Both socially healthy and physically healthy. And so, I mean, I think there's a position here which has been explored by a number of the schemes. That is, what is the next position? And Tom talked about it yesterday. You probably weren't here yesterday, but he talked about a whole new phase in the world happening, you know, and what it might be. It's sustainability. It's you know, the whole social equality thing. It's all these issues which are going to arise, and they arise from buildings.
Yeah, all of those things, Sook. And also, now let me see if I'm reading this. The lake is to the top?
Yeah.
The expressway is to the bottom.
Yeah.
Here. Then your outdoor parking
Yeah.
is on the lakeside.
On the, yeah.
Why isn't it part of all the stuff that can go back of house on the side where the cars belong, like on the roads?
Oh.
And the nature of that whole lake and garden and the great boardwalk or the great space that all the theatres open up to the lake in a broad scale. I'm not understanding your overall planning very well, I don't think. When I say I'm not understanding, I understand the drawing, but I don't understand your decision making.
Right, okay.
That's the first thing. And the second thing, Sook, is please throw your computer away for a while, because the computer in all those images that you showed inside is telling you what the building has to be, and it doesn't know. It doesn't know. It doesn't know how to make a tropical wall that can open up and close. It doesn't know how to support a set of stairs. It doesn't know how to make a wall that actually appears like it's constructed and built and made out of heavy materials and light. It doesn't know. And until you understand those things, then you can instruct it. Right? You must learn about how things are made in architecture and then let your computer do some work for you. Not the other way around. Because otherwise it will be out of the architect's hands completely and into the hands of the project managers and so forth, who will say, oh, we'll look after that, and they'll build it any old how. Believe me, that's what's happening today. When you go past all these buildings, commercial buildings that you see with all the windows all striped up, none of them opening properly to the street, the whole humanity side of architecture is lost. And without that, as an art form, we are sunk. And that's what's happening. And you will be going back to Malaysia, perhaps, and you must lead in these things, not follow what's happening there. Okay?
Right.
Okay?
Yeah. So can I sort of explain my
Yeah.
reason of why putting it there?
Yeah.
Yeah. So why everything is that planned that way is because one, I really wanted to give an impact to the people who haven't been to that space.
Yeah.
But when they drive in, I want to create that sort of a mysterious, like a wall, a very strong kind of impact feeling when you drive through, and that's why when you said that it's too harsh and it's concrete and stuff, because I wanted it to have that impact. And then to soften it up, I provide a timber kind of feature on top. So when you journey in, you can only see this sort of like a very strong concrete at the back and the timber, and I don't know what's going on the other side. And so I want to create that interest in people, that people want to go into it. And so when they drive in, they have the access. So when you access in, it is actually a ramp where you drive downwards one level and you're sunken in that landscape, and then you can see your mountain at your side. And then when you park, and then you can see what's on the other side of the building, and you drive here and you have all the views here. And then you go in and you experience the indoors, and then through that journey, and you go, this is a axis where you walk through, and then you have sort of the connection space in between the transition, and then you can know what's going on outside, and it makes you to decide whether you want to go out or you remain into the performances, or you go out on this landscaping, which is just next to the inner road. And that's what I think to connect on the overall scheme. Yeah.
Okay. Good.
Okay.
explanation and conviction in obviously some of the decisions you're making. Lovely model too, very, very carefully made. Thank you, Sook Teng.
No, thank you.
Thank you.